All right, let's get started. I'll put all this stuff away and hopefully give people some time to show up. I almost forgot to make a thumbnail for this live stream. It's just something I always forget to do. Never think about doing that. All right. I really look forward to these live streams. And I also despise them because it makes me extremely uncomfortable. You know, just creating YouTube videos and then editing out all my mistakes and all that is so much easier than just going live. But I'm a firm believer of definitely doing things that are difficult, so I better put my money where my mouth is, right? Okay, so we'll give a minute and hopefully some people can show up. If not, I don't mind talking to myself and just, you know, working out some ideas that I've had in my head for a while. I didn't put a poll for this live stream for this week because I think I have a general idea of what people kind of want to hear and talk about. Okay, so my phone does get the notification. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, let me just do not disturb. Yeah, so I was throwing out ideas about like general productivity, filmmaking, health and fitness, you know, just to gauge the audience's or you guys' response to see, you know, what you guys want to discuss. And it seems like health and fitness is not a topic that's very popular, so I'm just going to scrap that entirely. Or maybe, who knows, you know, maybe we'll go back to that one day if people are interested in talking about that kind of stuff. Or maybe that's just like a seasonal topic. I'm sure in the beginning of January, like in the New Year's, that people will be more interested to talk about that type of thing because, you know, in the first month of the year, a lot of people set out New Year's resolutions to lose weight, and health and fitness becomes very popular. But like all things, I think that you should take health and fitness, or you should approach it with the mindset of working on it every day. So that's just what I believe, though. Not everyone has to do that. Okay, the one thing is, though, I don't know. I can't test the audio levels, so hopefully someone will show up and let me know if the audio and video is good. The problem is, like, I always have to reset up everything for these live streams. Hey, Forrest, how you doing? You officially made it to every single live stream. I really appreciate that. Oh, Forrest, can you hear me? Let me know if I'm too loud or too soft. And I wish there was a way I could monitor my audio levels better. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not peaking. Okay, cool. Thank you. So what's going on, Forrest? How you doing? How is everything? Have you been going on those hikes still? I actually went on like an awesome hike with my father on the weekend, and then we were practicing some photography. It was a lot of fun, and I managed to record most of our trip. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with that footage, but I I did record it. It's hot. Yeah. Man. Here it's like, I think it's like 28 degrees here, and it's like super humid. And unfortunately, this room that I'm in, it doesn't have like the best ventilation or like air conditioning, so it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot in here too. Well, I guess I shouldn't really complain though, because I was complaining all winter that it was so cold. Oh, what happened? Did something die over here? Oh, okay, this music is super low. Well, I'm okay if it's not super loud. I wasn't made for summers. Oh, you don't do good in hot weather? You know what? I don't really do that good in hot weather either. I have like terrible allergies and eczema, and it always flares up on my arms whenever it gets too hot, which is a pain. I know, right? I always think of my friend in Egypt. There's always someplace hotter. Oh man, Egypt? It must be scorching hot in Egypt. Let's find out. Egypt. Temperature. Yo, 37 degrees Celsius in Egypt. Oh my. What is that? Fahrenheit is 98. 98 degrees Fahrenheit today in Egypt. Wow, it's going to be 38, 40, 41, 39, 39, 41, 41, 42. See, I can't live in a place like that. Like I do enjoy warm weather, but when it's that hot, like 40 degrees Celsius, that's just not enjoyable anymore. Props to anyone that can live in those type of conditions. And I'm complaining that it's 28. We've had 42 degree summers. 42? Also, it will be 37 in 3 days. And it's 34 right now. Wow. Oh yeah, but you're by Kosovo and Albania, right? Man, 42 degrees. Is that safe? Like, you're probably at risk of dehydration, no? 42 degrees? Like, what do the homeless people do? Because I think we have hot weather warning for homeless people when it's like mid-30s. Like 35 plus. Oh no, did I get it wrong? Wait, where are you again? It's, oh man, I always enjoy geography and I ask people, but then I'm bad at remembering. I'm gonna move closer. I feel like I'm too far away. I've read that radioactivity makes places hotter. Before 1999, it never got higher than 22. Oh, really? 1999. So that's like 22 years ago? Yes, it is Kosovo. Oh, okay, good. Good. Sorry. Man. I remember someone came to the stream once and I was like, oh, how's Germany? And they're like, I'm in Spain or something like that. And I was like, oh. It feels so bad, you know, because people make the effort to come and watch the stream, you know, and type in the stream. And I really appreciate that, right? So I always try my best to show my appreciation and try to remember, all the people that do show up, and it just makes me feel so bad when I forget what country they're from. Kosovo. Let's take a look at Kosovo. Where are we on the map here? Okay, so in between, oh, okay, I see. So Kosovo is in the middle of Albania, Montenegro, Serbia, and North Macedonia. Oh, I see why it's hot though, because you're fairly south-ish, I guess. There's nothing to see. I'll continue painting. I'm listening though. Oh, okay, cool. Oh man, I've been trying to paint, but it's not going well. And I've been trying to convince my dad to do some paintings with me because he's an amazing painter. Yo, Brian Primetime, what's up, bro? Happy Saturday. Brian, is it lagging still? Remember you were telling me about that slight lag? I guess between like my movement and my speech. Is it lagging? I wonder if that's because I use the camera directly USB without a capture card. That's why I was thinking that maybe the capture card can get rid of that delay and I could have a much more smoother stream. Why can't I see? There is a bit of lag still, not bad though. Okay. Yeah, I was Googling using cameras, specifically mirrorless cameras, as a webcam. And apparently there's like a notable quality loss and latency issue if you don't have like a proper capture card, like one of those Elgato Camlink things. Just a little jittery at times. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna try out that I was hoping to try out that capture card I bought today, but stupid me didn't get the proper mini HDMI to HDMI cable, so I'll have to save it for the next stream. And it's not like I don't want that super perfect quality. As long as it's decently lag free, I'm more than happy with that. Okay, so let's get into the general topic that I kind of wanted to share my thoughts and ideas about, and that was mental health. Now, part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this was I've been working on a video recently, kind of associated with mental health and social media, and how those things kind of contrast and coincide with one another. And hopefully the video that I made on that topic is going to come out on the 29th, so this Tuesday, I think, if I get everything finished. And what I really noticed was I took a couple of days vacation off of work and I went up north, which I wasn't really able to do last summer because of COVID and the pandemic. And having yearly trips in the summer to go up north in nature, was something that I've been accustomed to. So I was super excited this past weekend, to just get away from the city and just, go up in the forest and by the lake and, just disconnect, right? And I knew I was going to enjoy the trip because I was super excited and I was looking forward to it. But when I actually got there and stepped out of the car and my phone, it disconnected from the cellular service because there's no signal where that area is. It made me oddly happy. And you know when you hit like a super hard workout and then you finish the whole workout through and then you can sit down and rest, and it's like this huge sigh of relief physically, like your body's at peace, it's like at rest. You just put in a hard workout, you got through it, and now you can just relax and it feels good, right? I kind of had that same feeling mentally when I got up north. And I was just like, I took a deep breath in and I was like, wow, it's nice to just be away from everything. And I realized sort of how much I missed it, because it was pretty much a full year, right, since I was properly able to, go and visit my family inside, right? And, stay over there, because that's a problem with the lockdown. Like I could drive up to my parents' cottage, but it takes 3 hours. So if I go for the day, I have to drive up 3 hours. You can only spend half a day, then you have to drive back. So if I can't like stay the night, then it's almost not worth it for me to make the trip. So that's why in the summer of 2020, I kind of missed out on everything. And mental health is a weird thing too, because you can't really quantify it in the physical world, right? Like when your physical health is lacking and you're out of shape or you're overweight, everyone can see it. Everyone can see it on your face, they can see it in your body, they can see it with how you move. But when it comes to mental health, it's invisible. And it's almost invisible to yourself as well, because it's not something that you can calculate or measure, right? It's all internal. And I've never considered myself to have any mental health issues at all. I'm extremely fortunate that I've never had depression. I've never had serious anxiety. I've had mild levels of social anxiety, but I think that's something that's controllable. So I haven't had anything like, super crazy that was outside of my realm of control. But man, just getting away from everything, it felt so good. It was so calming and relaxing to the mind to just disconnect and unplug from, the 9-to-5 rat race and corporate, I guess you would call it corporate Canada, corporate North America. And so I was thinking, when people talk about mental health issues and they talk about things like improving mental health in the workplace, maybe it's not a thing where people are suffering. Maybe there is like a baseline level where people are at, like myself, where we're doing okay, but you could be doing better, right? I feel like you could always just be doing better. And I feel like a lot of the time, mental health issues gets demonized as something that is a negative, or something that's, that's something that's broken, or something that someone is struggling with, right? And you want to try to help those people and get back up to that baseline. But what if you are just already at that baseline? Isn't there a way you could increase your mental health to improve it, to go above that level, and to be even more happier? And this was a concept I was kind of working on in my head, and I was just like thinking about, because especially with things that I do, like playing basketball or watching the NBA, for example, the NBA is very supportive of mental health issues and players. There's been a couple players, like I think there was DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Love, who publicly talked about, the mental health issues that they had, and I found it very interesting. And I see workplaces like mine, we have like mental health day or mental health week, and you try to talk with your coworkers and peers about the importance of mental health in the workplace, right? And I think that this is something we could all work on without having to wait to that point where it becomes detrimental. So again, these are all very abstract ideas that I don't have answers to, and I haven't really fully worked out yet, and I'm still trying to figure them out. Like what if, let's say I want to improve my mental health, right? What do I do? Or where do I start? I don't really know. Because when I try to take care of my physical health, it's super easy, right? Just eat healthy food, exercise, pick up heavy stuff, and get good sleep. And, it's very simple. Everyone knows how to start, right? So I'm just trying to figure out where would I start if I wanted to improve my own mental health. The other thing too that's tricky about this subject is it's hard to share an opinion on something that I don't know anything about, right? I have no idea what other people are going through, or what kind of turmoil or distractions or negative influences are in someone's life, that unless they tell you. And I wonder if the start towards better mental health is opening up that conversation, right? And just breaking the ice with asking the awkward question, right? Like, how are you mentally? How's your mental health? How are you doing, right? And just asking people, how's it going? And I think that's a fair question to ask, but it's a weird one, especially amongst men, I think, because imagine a situation where you're hanging out with a group of guys, and you want to talk about a certain subject. Usually it's more simple, basic things, right? Like it could be like sports or something. But if you bring up mental health and you like ask the guys, like, how's your mental health? And like, well, how are you doing, right? And you get this like bizarre response, right, from men where it's like, whoa, what are you, like, weak or something? Like there's this stigma attached to it, right? I don't know if that's right. Is that right? Maybe that's just an observation that I've seen from talking to other people about this kind of stuff. I feel like women are more welcoming to discussing these types of topics and ideas. I don't know if that's a correct thing to say or not, but just from past experience, I feel like it's easier to talk about those type of things with women, right? Like I don't think I would ever talk to my brother about mental health. Right? Like that'd be a strange conversation that I would have with my brother, because me and my brother, we talk about, we talk about like things like sports and the economy and the government, and more, I don't want to say simpler topics, but we don't have any conversations about things with deep meaning or deep psychological issues, if that's a good way to put it. And I'm sure we're not the only ones, because I don't think that's an easy discussion to have with your siblings, right? Hey Ray, what's up? What's going on? Oh, here's a perfect time. Hey Ray, how would you feel about me asking you about mental health? Would you find that to be a weird topic to talk about? I don't know. Maybe the way I think about this is I'm mistaken. Maybe this is a subject that people do want to talk about, but no one's willing to, bring it up at first. Not weird at all. Okay, perfect. I think it's also because, we have a long friendship, right? Like we've been great friends for years, right? Maybe it's not as easy to talk to someone that you've become friends with recently. I don't think it's a weird topic at all. Maybe it's because we're super open about it in my family. Okay, that's really good. So when you say my family, you mean your immediate family? Mary and the kids? Or do you also include like your parents and siblings in that as well? Because I'm always curious, right? I'm always curious about what do other people talk about and how do other people work on their relationships and their lives, right? Because I know that if I ever brought these topics up with, say, my parents, for example, they're always very supportive and willing to talk to me about certain ideas and topics, regardless of what they are, right? So I always know that in the back of my mind that I can safely bring up a not so common topic and they'd be willing to, discuss it with me. And it's interesting because when we grew up as kids in the 90s, there was literally nothing anywhere about mental health issues, right? Like I don't even remember hearing the term at all. And maybe this is because of the birth of the internet and social media and how we're all interconnected now, which has created these mental health issues, right? Like that could be a possibility. Yeah, Mary, Mills, and I, we make sure that if there's something we did talk as a family, we don't hide it. Well, that's good. See, that's really good. You guys have an understanding, right? That if there's an issue that's, on someone's mind, then you guys can all openly discuss it and work on, what to do and work on a solution, right? See, because when I think about this issue as a whole, right? When I get older and Tifa gets older, these are conversations that I want to be able to have as well, right? Hey, Mary. I do believe there is a lot of stigma with mental health. Most people don't feel safe talking about their mental health because there is lots of judgment. There are definitely people I feel more safe sharing my mental health and struggles with. Okay. See, I think that's what I'm thinking about. Because of being judged, right? Yeah, if you have like a safe group of people and friends and family to talk about that type of stuff with, it definitely helps. But yeah, I 100% agree on the stigma thing too. Because it's a hard thing to bring up, right? It's a hard topic to bring to the table. I can do these convos with my sisters as well. I don't think it would be weird at all. My brother and parents are a bit more reserved and might not open up about it. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, because that's the thing too, right? The relationship you have with people is very different, right? There's some things you can joke about that you can't joke about with others. And there may be some things that you can talk seriously about with people that you may not be able to talk to with someone else, right? because this is the thing, this is the issue that I'm having, right? Because I don't have any serious mental health issues, that shouldn't mean that I shouldn't talk about it. It's like, you know, when people donate money to something like, like, I don't know, pancreatic cancer or something. Usually when they do that, it's because someone in their family, like had pancreatic cancer, right? So then they want to support that. But I kind of want to get to the point where I want to support things before the tragedy occurs, right? Like I want to be in support of pancreatic cancer, even though I don't know anyone that has it. I want to be in support of mental health issues, even though I don't really have any myself, right? And I want to be more aware of these things because, just because I'm not experiencing any of them, that doesn't mean, lots of my friends and family could be, right? I always find it difficult to ask someone about their mental state in fear of upsetting them. Yeah, so see, Tina's saying this like similar to Mary, like the fear of upsetting them, the fear of judgment, right? Yeah, because there's no way because that's such a tough conversation to have, right? I think the important thing is asking them how they are. How are they doing, and leaving that door open. Yeah, that's really good, because you're letting them know that if they do want to talk to you about it, that you're willing and able to listen, right? And especially now, right, with all this lockdown, COVID craziness. Like, imagine people that struggle with mental health issues before. Like, even now, it could be even worse now, right? I think this is definitely something, that we should try to talk about more. Mostly due to the fact that a lot of these issues are hidden, right? And I remember there was this one person at work, this lady, super happy, super extroverted, I would say, and like happy-go-lucky type of personality. And she was always someone, that always said hi to everyone and remembered your name, and it was really jovial. And when we had that mental health week discussion at work, she actually like stood up and talked about, like mental health issues she had because, her sister was battling some type of disease or something, and it caused her all types of anxiety. And this is coming from a person where you would have never guessed it in the first place, that something was happening deep down, right? And maybe this is why, or maybe this is how this idea kind of sparked in my mind, where I want to learn more about it, if that makes any sense. I just wish there was a way that, it's easier to talk about these things. Because the thing is, like, I'm super curious with all types of topics and subjects that I don't know anything about. Like even this like random podcast that I do once a month or every once in a while. I love talking about things, not even just YouTube or basketball related, like not just things that I love, but like anything crazy, even something like, say, I don't know, cooking or politics or economics or like these ideas that I don't know anything about, but I'm still curious to learn about them. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I'm just trying to think of like, or maybe I should watch some TED Talks. I wonder, do TED Talks have any interesting like lectures on mental health issues? Because I always want to learn something. Let's find out. Sure, I could do a quick search. Let's see here. Sorry, just give me a sec. TED Talk mental health. Man, if anyone were to see my YouTube search history, it probably makes no sense. It literally makes like no sense of stuff that I'm always searching. It'll be like one day a camera tutorial, next day like an alligator fighting a buffalo, the next day like building a Raspberry Pi computer, or like it's like all this super random stuff. Okay, so there are TED Talks. Stop the stigma, why it's important to talk about mental health. Wow, that's cool. Hey, big one. What's going on? Germany, right? Can you still do muscle up? Your video of you learning it was recommended to me. Well, hold on, this music is super loud. Let me turn this down. Okay, hopefully that's better. That was super loud. Your video of you learning it was recommended to me and how I found you, dude. Want to learn it too. Oh, that's interesting. So I learned the muscle up in August of 2019. And then since then, when the lockdown started, the gyms closed and everything. So I didn't have access to one of those like pull-up bars anymore. So to be perfectly honest, I don't even know if I could still do it. I do plan on making like a follow-up video, maybe something along the lines of, can I still do a muscle up 2 years after lockdown or something? Because unfortunately here in Canada, like gyms are still closed. Like you still can't go to the gym. And only recently, I think that they allowed gatherings outside. So I think I can go to the park and maybe go on that same pull-up bar that I recorded the video with. I still do remember the form and the technique for sure. But if I was honest, can I still do it now? I wonder. I might have to say no. But definitely with a week or two of, retraining my back muscles and getting a little bit stronger, I definitely think I could do it again. Because the muscle up, a big part of it was, a lot of it is technique, right? Like if you can do 10 like normal pull-ups, right, to like your chest, then you are strong enough to do a muscle up. The rest is just a technique. And the big part of it is your distribution of weight when you're swinging and kind of using leverage to your advantage, right? Yeah, because see the thing with the muscle up is it's kind of like a cheap party trick, right? Because you're just manipulating momentum and your weight in a way to where you can do this kind of cool maneuver of getting your chest over the bar. But in reality, a true muscle up, or what people call a clean muscle up, is when there's no kipping motion, right? And you're just from a dead hang, and then you just go straight up and over. Whereas the muscle up that I was learning was more of like the noob friendly version, where you kind of have that swing, right? And then you manipulate your momentum to kind of pull and push yourself up and over the bar. So I do want to test myself and see if I can do it. But like I said, if I had to guess, I don't think I could do one today. Noob friendly version? Yeah. Because have you seen those people that do like the strict muscle ups, like the super clean ones, where they're like this, but they're not even rocking back and forth at all. They're just completely still. And then it's like 1, 2, 3, boom, and they're up. Like that requires so much strength from lifting yourself from a position that has no momentum, right? At least when you're doing it with a swing, you can kind of like use that momentum to push you back and pull you up. Whereas if you're just stationary, man, there's no energy to displace you, right? You're just dead still. So, or maybe that's something I could try to learn. I just need this whole lockdown stuff to end. And this sucks. Still can't work out in the gym at all. But I've been fortunate enough to I have an adjustable bench and I have some dumbbells in my garage, so I've been able to keep up my health and fitness. But you know, a lot of that is mostly just like pushing motions, right? I do have one of those cheap pull-up bars that you put like in your doorway, but you can't do a muscle up on those things, right? Because when you pull yourself up, your head kind of hits the door frame. So there's like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out what to do in the future. It would be amazing to just I would love to have a place that had like a 10-foot ceiling. Like imagine a basement with a 10-foot ceiling and just put in like one of those steel pull-up bars. That'd be cool. Yeah, here in Germany, the lockdown's kind of gone. Oh, that's good. So are the numbers in Germany down? Do push-ups a lot. Yeah. So hopefully life is kind of back to normal for you guys in Germany during the summer. That'd be pretty good. I've been to Germany a couple times when I was younger. I went on that, what's that highway called? Autobahn or something? The one that doesn't have like a speed limit. And I remember I was going like 150 kilometers an hour in the right lane. And some dude just like passed me so fast in the left lane. And I was like, oh man, I gotta get off this thing. That's it's too crazy. Hey, you guys face England on Tuesday. You gotta win. Excuse me. Yeah, that thing. Am I saying that right? Autobahn? Autobahn? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm guessing Autobahn. But yeah, Germany is pretty cool. Because I have family in Austria. So the last time we went there, I think we flew into Munich. And then from Munich, we took a train, I think, into Austria or something like that. Oh man, keep coughing. That's annoying. But yeah, I have a lot of plans this summer for a lot of different types of videos that hopefully I'll be able to do once everything just gets back to normal. I'm just really looking forward to that, you know. Just I miss those just you know, social interactions with people, you know. Close. It's hard T and auto instead of the D. Auto. Oh, I'm saying auto. Auto. Oh, okay. I feel like I should know. My dad can speak German. Sadly, I can't speak anything but English. I know that's which is pretty bad. I do have Europe on my trip list for the future. But we'll have to wait and see what the whole airline situation is like. Because I don't think you can even really go anywhere without having to do that self-quarantine thing, right? Oh, excuse me. But yeah, we'll see. So I would definitely like to do some type of muscle up follow-up video, hopefully in August, because that would mark the 2 years since I created that video. And oddly enough, that video is one of the first videos that I made on my channel that I didn't really think anything of it. It was just something that I wanted to do for fun, and I kind of just shot it with my GoPro and then just put it together and posted it. And for whatever reason, the YouTube algorithm kind of picked it up a little bit, and it started, showing it to people. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I would love to challenge myself in some way to see, like how much strength have I lost from the lockdown, right? Because again, like the muscle up it's an explosive movement where you need strength, right, and power and to explode and get up and over the bar. So maybe I'll do that in August. And then I kind of want to figure out this whole, mental health issue thing, right? And kind of, I don't know, maybe I'll just create a less formal video and sort of share my thoughts on it after I spend some time to think deeply about the topic, because this is part of the reason why my YouTube channel takes so long for me to post videos. It's because a lot of these ideas that I share, I don't like to just share something or share my opinion without putting an extreme amount of time into it and thinking deeply about it, right? Like when I talk about things like intermittent fasting or productivity or creating a morning routine, these are things I want to make sure that I'm actually doing in my day-to-day life before I recommend it to other people, right? And it's like, it feels weird talking about something if you don't actually do it, or if you don't practice what you preach, right? But I did get some really cool footage up north by the lake, and went for a hike. So, and that whole experience kind of kickstarted this whole discussion about mental health that I wanted to learn more about. Uh-oh. Baby's upset. Can you hear that? I think it's her bedtime. Uh-oh. And the other thing too, it's like, I know my channel would probably do better if I posted more. And this is another reason why I sort of wanted to give an update in regards to my channel and what my current plans are. So I do have an expectation to post at least at minimum 2 to 3 well thought out videos per month. And I don't count these daily streams, or not daily streams. I don't count these monthly streams in that metric, because there's no preparation here, right? I'm just like free flowing and discussing ideas that I'm interested in. But in the future, I would love to get to a point where I could post 1 video per week and post 52 videos in a year. That would be awesome. Because right now I'm doing about 36 a year, right? 3 a month on average. But at the same time, you know, I want the content that I create to be to the best of my ability and up to a certain standard, so that when you know that I post a video, you know that there's a certain amount of time, effort, and care has been put into that subject, and I've took the time to thoroughly think it out and think about all the possibilities, all the pros and all the cons, and present the best possible, well thought out opinion that I can in that piece, right? And I know that this isn't the best thing to grow a YouTube channel, because YouTube likes consistency, right? They want you to keep posting, and they want you to keep posting on kind of similar topics in one specific niche, whereas I'm sort of all over the place. So I know that kind of hurts me algorithmically. And, you know, that's a little unfortunate, but at the same time, I do want to create videos, and I want to talk about topics that are meaningful to me and that are important to me. Like when that muscle up video took off, if I just turned my whole YouTube channel into like a calisthenics channel, and I just talked about doing muscle ups and pull ups and, you know, front levers and diamond push-ups and whatever, then I'm sure that, you know, the channel would have grown at a much faster rate if I just stayed on that one specific topic or niche. But at the same time, you know, that's not what I enjoy fully, right? You know, health and fitness is one piece of a much larger puzzle of life that I'm trying to put together and create. I do think it's important, and I do think the piece of the pie that's health and fitness is very large in comparison to a lot of other things. Because at the end of the day, like if your body can't function properly, and if you're not healthy, then like it's almost impossible to do all the other things in life, right? But also, I don't want to just kind of pigeonhole myself into this one way or one niche of creating content. And of course, you know, of course it's hard to look at the numbers and then you see things, you know, that does really well, like the muscle up video, for example. Like when I look at it, what does it have, like 20,000 views or something? 30,000? Like I don't even know. Here, 29,000, right? So a video has 29,000 views that, you know, I made for fun, you know, and I enjoyed it. But then I have a video where I put like 50 hours into, and I created something that really resonated with me and something that I really loved. And it was like this idea of never growing up. And so on one hand, you have one subject that I kind of put little like minimal amount of effort into, and I have another which I probably put 5 times the amount of work and effort into that piece. And one has 29,000 views and the other has 200. So there's like this juggling act that I have with myself, whereas why am I spending all this time and energy into these topics and video ideas that it seems like no one really cares to watch, right? But the trade-off is that I don't want to sell myself short and, you know, just create content for some type of algorithm. And this is like this internal battle that I have with myself basically every day, right? And this could maybe this falls in the realm of mental health too, right? Like always getting caught up in the numbers, caught up in the views, the watch time, the metrics, the subscribers. That can't be good for you, long term, right? Like it can't be good to just always stress about how you're doing algorithmically with some arbitrary number of views that your content is getting. It's because it definitely affects me. Like there's no other way to talk about it. This is something that it affects my work. It affects the way that I think about things. So it's just it's very conflicting because people will say like, why do you put so much time and effort into something if it's not doing good? But at the same time, like, why does the outcome have to matter so much? Isn't the most important part of the process, doing something that you love and doing something that you thoroughly enjoy? Because that's what this is, right? So we'll see what happens. You never know. I do have to admit, though, that when I do see like the views kind of spike up from time to time, or like you get a whole bunch of subscribers in one day, it is exciting. It's like, it's almost addicting in a way, like to see like these numbers roll in. Because I vividly remember the days where I was getting like 3 views a day, 4 views, right? Like 100 views in a month. And then you're just like, it felt great that anyone was watching your content. But now I'll get like a couple hundred in one day, but then I still don't have that same excitement or joy. So it's very strange. Social media plays a very strange game with your mind. So let's see what I got planned. Let's talk about what I got planned, or what videos I have in the works. Okay, so I have one more video planned to release in June of this month, which, like I said, the 28th or 29th of Monday. So that's the social media detox type of video that I've been working on for the past week and a half, I think. Oh, and here's an interesting thing that came up. So there is this concept that has been becoming increasingly popular in the self-development, productivity niche, or whatever you want to call this. And that topic is minimalism. Now, I recorded a podcast with a fellow YouTuber who kind of got into minimalism, but realized it wasn't really for him. And then he discovered this idea called essentialism. And that was something that he really gravitated towards, and he kind of believed in and identified as. And I was always reluctant to make a video about minimalism, because even though I have some beliefs that I follow, like I wear a very minimalistic wardrobe, like the colors and clothing of the shirt I wear are very basic and very simple. So I have like ideologies that are in line with minimalism. But at the same time, I can't honestly say that I identify as a minimalist, right? Because that would be a little disingenuous. Because it's not something that I do on a day-to-day basis. And the idea with minimalism is that there is this idea that people own just way too much stuff, right? We're always just buying way too many things. We're keeping too many possessions, and we're not selling or getting rid of anything. And we just, over time, accumulate all this clutter. And we accumulate things that we never even really use. And a perfect example of this is just clothes. And think about the time where, you bought a shirt or something, or a sweater, and, maybe you took the tag off, maybe you didn't, and maybe it sat in your closet and it was there for a month or whatever, and then you never wear it. And a year could go by, right? 2 years can go by. And I've noticed this too, where I have all these things that I just bought and never really used. Like, why do I have this? Tried minimalism in my own way, and I'm over it. Yeah, it's like I tried some ideas from it, but not everything really worked with me. And I was talking about this idea with this guy, and I was saying, like, my parents and my family, they came, to Canada as like immigrants, right? And that like immigrant mentality of what you have is so valuable to you, right? The possessions you have, you should be grateful for what you got, and you should utilize everything that you can and not be wasteful. And this was perfectly lived through my grandfather, who I just told this story recently to this guy, where whenever he bought coffee, like those giant ground up coffee beans in like those big jars, when he was finished with it, he wouldn't recycle it. He would keep the tin and use it as like a bucket to hold his paintbrushes, or to hold his socket wrenches, or nuts and bolts, or nails or something. And he would use these things. And then when he passed away, and I created that vlog video recently on my channel about saying goodbye to my grandparents, in his workshop, we were going through his stuff, and he had all these tin cans that he saved, and he had a use for them, right? And he just like kept things and used them. And that kind of stems from that, that immigrant mentality where, you really value what you have, right? And you try to like hold on to things, so that maybe in the future you don't have to spend money and buy, whatever, some tool that maybe if you just hold on to it, you could use it in the future, right? And then I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, because you don't want to be wasteful. But then at the same time, minimalism is like, you have too much stuff, you need to declutter, you need to get rid of things, you need to throw stuff away, you need to donate, you need to sell. And it's like, I was like, oh man, that's tough, because that completely contradicts, like kind of how my family grew up and raised me, right? This idea of just don't be wasteful, don't throw things away, keep those things, and they may be useful. And minimalism is like preaching this whole completely other idea. And so I was just like, oh man, like which one is right? Like, which one should I do? And I couldn't really figure it out. So what I did do was I went over minimalism as a whole, and I was like, okay, which of these ideas can I incorporate into my life, and which ones, are kind of useless to me? And so the first thing was a minimalist wardrobe, or minimalist capsule wardrobe, or whatever. And it's this idea of just buy like 10 shirts, 10 pants, 10 socks of the same color, and then get rid of all your other clothes. And then every day you just make the same decision, same shirt, same pants, same socks, right? And it takes you 30 seconds to get dressed every day. You don't have to worry about materialism and buying new products that are fashionable and all that type of stuff. And this really attached to me, because fashion was never something that I was really into. I don't know, just I did enjoy buying, like name brand clothing and athletic gear for when I played sports and stuff, but I was never someone that was fashionable or, was into the latest fashion or style. It just never really did anything for me. So I figured, okay, let's just ditch this whole materialism idea when it comes to clothes and just create this minimalist capsule wardrobe, and let's try it out. And so I tried it early in 2020, I think. And it was something that I loved. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is so easy. I just wear the same clothes every day. I don't have to think about anything. And I can just go on with my day and live my life. And these are the things that I kind of took from minimalism and incorporated them into my daily routine and my lifestyle. But at the same time, like even in my room, if you look around my room, I have a bunch of stuff here on the shelves. I have clutter. I have camera accessories that I'm not using right now, but I may need it later. I have just things, right? Just a lot of stuff. And the minimalist approach would be, just to get rid of all this, right? And I know it's hard to let go of your possessions, and it's something that I'm trying to work on, but I don't think I can do that whole, I sold everything in my house except for a bowl and spoon type of lifestyle and expect to be happy, if that makes any sense. So the guy I was talking to in my podcast, he brought up this idea of essentialism, which is kind of similar to minimalism in a way. And he recommended a book by Greg McKeown that I began reading about essentialism, and that seems like something that is more in line with my beliefs. So in the future, I am planning on releasing a kind of like, I guess you would call it a minimalism versus essentialism video in the future. But like I said, I'm going to need to finish the book to get a complete grasp and understanding of this idea of essentialism, and try to differentiate the differences between the two, and pick the things that works for me and pick out the things that don't. What are some things that improve your mental health? Oh, you know what really improves my mental health is like routine. I don't know what it is. When I fall off my daily routine, like that's when I get all kinds of like crazy anxiety and stuff. So I think whenever I can follow like that strict routine where I kind of have my lunch at the same time every day, I hit my workout, at the same time, and I, all those routines and things that you do, that's when I feel the most at peace mentally. It's when chaos occurs and things come up in life and you have to do this, or you have to do that, and it just interrupts your daily life. That's when I get that mental fatigue. So whoa, okay, what's going on? Let's see what happened here. Hey, Sadie, what's up? Tina getting a therapist. Mary, long time no see. How you doing, Sadie? I saw one of your videos about you're building a what was it? Was it a Raspberry Pi? And I was like, what is that? And I went down this Google rabbit hole of am I even saying it right? Raspberry Pis? I didn't even know what that was. And then I got distracted and I forgot to leave a comment because I went down that insane rabbit hole of trying to figure out what you were talking about. Hey, Nick. What's up, Nick? There is the idea from Tony Robbins that we have 6 human needs. These are consistency, variety, significance, love, growth, and contribution. It seems like minimalism doesn't take into account variety. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, so consistency. There's consistency in minimalism. There's significance, love, growth, contribution. I see what you're saying. It doesn't take, yeah, because minimalism seems so extreme. It seems like it's on the far end of the spectrum, right? Because another belief that I have is, I think it's important to live like a balanced life. I think there's a lot of value in having balance or having variety, like Tony Robbins said, right? It's like when you do anything to the complete extreme, it just never feels that good for me. I like to have a lot of different things in my life and not just, think just one way. Raspberry Pi. It's a micro. Okay, yeah. So it is Raspberry Pi. I was like, yo, what is this? Like a tiny little computer you're building? I thought that was so cool because I never heard of it before. Hey, the final blow. What's up? How you doing? I believe the variety in minimalism is the fact that you think of removing one thing in your life to make room for something else. The ability to let go. Removing one thing in your life to make room for something else. Yeah, that's hard too, right? You know, the ability to let go of things. You know, that's it's difficult, right? Like the whole minimalism thing, like I still have my childhood teddy bear from when I was a baby. And I used to have it here on the shelf, but then it's like kind of weird because it's like watching me on stream. And you know, I was always wondering, like, why do I keep this? And I keep it because it's like a memory that was so strong in my childhood because I love this teddy bear, right? And I had a name for him and everything. And I like to keep that possession because it's a reminder of those good memories I had as a child, right? And I know minimalism is like, you know, get rid of those old objects that have no functionality. Because what does a teddy bear do, right? It just sits there. It collects dust. It doesn't actually do anything. So it's just a possession that I have that's taking up space in my house for no objective reason. But I find value in that possession because it reminds me of a positive memory of my childhood, right? So it's, I don't know. I don't know what to do or what to think about it. That one piece reminds you so much of your life, so you don't need everything from your childhood, just that one piece. Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't keep anything else really from my childhood. Maybe my parents kept my first shoes or something, but the only possession I kept was just that teddy bear because it meant so much to me, right? Hey, what's going on? I have a question about depression. Have you ever been in a state of not feeling to do something in life? And how can I get rid of it? Okay, so this is that's a very deep question. Give me a second. So have you ever been in a state of not feeling to do something in life? Okay, so earlier in my life, I was never depressed, but I had this feeling where I didn't know what to do with my life, right? And it wasn't the not knowing, it didn't make me depressed, but it's more of like, it's hard to see the meaning in life when you don't have a direction, right? When you don't have a goal or a purpose of what you're going to do on your day-to-day basis, right? Or day-to-day life. Because this is like the existential question that everyone falls back on, right? What's the point if we're all just going to die anyway, right? We're all just going to die and leave this world. So what is the point in pursuing that thing? Or what is the point of going out and doing something? And that ends up, that leaves you in this like depressed state, right? This whole idea of existentialism. And I get the depression, right? But for me, the way I got out of this state of feeling unaccomplished was I realized that I needed to put myself out there and fail more and pursue things and try to learn things and struggle, and that way I can figure out my path in life, because I never figured out what I really wanted to do until I was 33. Like it took me 33 years to finally figure out what I actually wanted to do with my life, right? Like when I was in school, I had an idea of, learn about computers, learn about programming, get a computer job. But like it just, it just never worked out that way for me. And it took me so long to figure out like, what do I actually love? And it took me over 30 years to find cameras, right? And get into videography and filmmaking and all, and realizing that creation brings me happiness. And the way that you can kind of get out of that state of feeling depressed is figuring out what that purpose is. Like, what is your why? What's your passion? What do you love to do? What drives you? And that way, by creating a goal, you can avoid that whole existential question of what's the point of life if we're all going to die, right? And I think that's part of the reason why so many people get depressed, right? Because they don't have meaning in their everyday life. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to try to achieve and seek out in this world, right? And at the same time, this isn't true for everyone, right? We're all very different, and the way we grew up can be completely better or worse depending on your situation and where you live. But I think for me, the best way I got out of that depressed state of, not knowing what to do was just to fail, just to try, and just, put myself out there. Try a business, try a camera, try a YouTube channel, try a podcast, try, refereeing basketball games, or try working at a hardware store. Like, all these things that I did and all these experiences I had growing up, I realized, I don't like this, I hate that, I don't want to do this. And you kind of like, by a process of elimination, you can get rid of the things you don't want to do. And if you keep trying other things, then you might figure out, oh, hey, I actually like photography. I actually like videography. Cameras are like a cool thing. And then you can kind of figure out what your purpose in life is based on those things that you love to do. I wish I could make my family be essentialists. Oh, Forrest, do you read that book? You know what I'm talking about? I think his name is Greg McKeown, right? You don't have to remove all things without function. Is memory, recall, enjoyment a function of life? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's deep. Is memory, recall, and enjoyment a function of life? Wow. That was a nice... Yeah, it's... Thanks. It's a tough question, right? Because I can relate to so many people, and even when I look at all my friends, all my friends are way more successful than I am, right? A lot of them, after high school, they went to university, they got a degree, they got a good paying job, they had a career, they knew what they wanted to do, and then, they're off to the races. Whereas me, 22, don't know what to do. Playing video games and basketball. 25, same thing. 28, 30, 31, 32, and I got 32, I still have no idea what I wanted to do. And by that time, all my close friends, they have like 10 years of seniority at a company now, right? From like, using their degree in their field of work, whereas I still haven't even started, right? And it's kind of depressing because you feel like a loser, right? And I was fortunate enough that I never felt depressed. Maybe I was just oblivious to my feelings, but I just always felt like, just not as good as everyone else. And this is what I mean, how I can relate to younger people when, they have these existential problems of trying to find their purpose and meaning in life. And it's just, there are times where I wished that I figured this out earlier. I honestly wished I figured it out earlier. But at the same time, I love where I'm at right now. I love that every day I wake up without an alarm clock. I wake up with passion. I wake up with purpose. I know what I want to do. I'm excited to start my day and just go out there and go after it. And, I love that, right? And it's regardless of whatever amount of money I make, right? Like I'm happy, right? And that like when you find happiness, it feels so good, right? Because you know exactly what you want to do. You can't wait to start your day and just go out there, right? And I wish that everyone could find what their version of happiness is. I wouldn't say their lives are better. You spent time enriching your life with all these new and interesting experiences that some will never even try. Yeah, that's true. It's just hard because, like when you're younger and you're in your 20s, right? People will look down on you, and people will have opinions of what you're doing, right? And be like, especially, graduating at the end of the 90s, graduating like what, 2001, I think. So like 20 years ago is when I like graduated high school. And in those times, if you didn't have some type of post-secondary education plan or path, like it's almost as if you were a failure, right? And our parents valued education so much over life experiences, right? And it's hard, right? But like I said, I did have all these enriching life experiences, through failure and through tough times. And in the moment, I hated it. It was horrible going through those things. But on the other end of those struggles, like it's made me such a stronger person with so much more insight and knowledge, like about who I am and about what I love to do, right? Yeah, exactly. Know thyself. It says life is so hard, life is such a difficult beast. And that's what like school can't teach you about, right? Like when I started my own business at, how old was I? 2002? 18, 19? I didn't know anything about taxes, right? I didn't know anything about sole proprietorships or corporations or business expenses, or like I didn't know anything about that, because these are things you don't get taught in school, right? So of course when I started my own like little business thing, it was bound to fail. And I was fortunate enough to come out of it okay financially. I wasn't crushed, but it's like these are these hard life lessons that you kind of have to learn yourself, There's only so much that you can learn from other people's missteps and experiences, that sometimes you got to, you got to walk through that fire yourself, and you need to get burned in order for you, to grow and, figure out the next step in your life. It's just hard, and even now, I might be happy, right? I'm super happy with where I'm at, but there's still so much more I can learn and get better at, and so much more that I can improve, and there's so many more things that I can better through perspective, and learn more in this world, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Dang, I have a lot of questions in my big brain. Okay, another one. What is the first thing that I need to do to start my self-improvement journey? Okay, so this question I have a very definite answer to. And I think this is actually a non-negotiable thing. Now, you can agree with me or not, that's perfectly fine, but I have a super strong belief that if you're ever going to start some type of self-improvement journey in your life, the very first thing you have to do is take care of your health. Like, no ifs, no ands, no buts, no excuses, just eating healthy and exercising. Like, you have to do these things. It's because when I got into fitness, right, it wasn't, at first there was this idea for aesthetics. Like you want to look better. I was super scrawny and skinny and weak. And I tried doing bench press with my friends and I couldn't even push, 80 pounds off my chest. But what I soon realized is that when you eat healthier and you exercise, you have so much more energy throughout the day. You just feel so much better. Now, this is going to seem counterintuitive because when you work out, you're burning energy, right? And you would think that you're going to get tired. But by creating exercise as a habit, it's sort of like your capacity for energy increases, if that makes any sense. The best way I can explain it is, imagine someone who doesn't work out and they have a battery pack, internal battery pack, and that capacity is 100, right? And then you go through the day and it empties and you go to sleep and it refills to 100. Whereas if you have someone that works out regularly, and either, does cardio or weights or some type of physical activity, their battery pack is at 150 and not 100. So they have so much more to use throughout the day. And whenever people talk to me about, improving their life or starting their own self-improvement journey, I'm like, start with healthy eating and exercise, because that will just improve everything else so much more. And I know that people say things like, you need to read, you need self-education, you need to learn all these things. And yes, that's true, right? But if you're a person that's like overweight or, not in a good state physically, that's going to bleed into those other aspects of your life. And look, I'm not saying you have to be some type of power lifter or bodybuilder. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But if you can just add in jogging, right, 3 times a week, or just going for like a brisk walk every day. Like, it doesn't have to be heavy weights or dumbbells or barbells. It can just be like playing some soccer, going for a hike, or walking your dog, just doing something to get those juices flowing in your body. It just makes everything so much easier when you have just better health and energy. And I just feel like that is a foundation for self-development. Like, those are your building blocks, because if your body is not healthy, it's just so much harder to do everything else, Like when I create these YouTube videos, or even now during this live stream, for example, right? If I ate shitty food all day and I ate, like tons of sugar and processed foods, I feel terrible. I feel sluggish. I wouldn't have like that energy and enthusiasm to do this, right? And right now I'm super passionate. I feel pretty good. I've been eating healthy. I've been taking care of my body. So when it comes to these tasks and things that I want to do, it's like that. I have all the energy in the world. There's no stagnation. There's no like feeling of complacency or feeling lazy or tired. Like, I don't have any of that. It's just pure energy, and it just feels so good, when you take care of your body and figure out what works the best for you. So if you're going to start, make that number one, and it'll make everything else so much easier. And if you are in a place where your health is, if you are healthy already, like say you do have a good diet and you do exercise, then the next thing I would say is, figure out your weaknesses. What are you bad at, and then work on those. So for example, for me, before all this YouTube stuff, I was extremely introverted and kind of shy, and I wasn't very good at speaking. I couldn't maintain a conversation with people. I couldn't keep eye contact, and I was socially awkward a lot of the times, right? But I realized that this is a skill that I'm not good at, and I need to practice. And if you take a look at like my YouTube videos from a year ago, or even 6 months ago, there is this huge improvement with the way I speak, how I conduct myself in these videos, right? And this was a weakness that I pinpointed, and I was like, okay, I'm weak at this, this, and this, and these are the things you got to work on. And again, It's going to be different from person to person. But if you have that strong foundation of healthy eating and fitness, it's going to make it so much easier for you to work on those weaknesses. So I hope that answered your big brain question. And it's hard too, though, right? Because it's hard to get into health and fitness sometimes, especially with North America. You know, if you live in like the US or Canada or something, you got fast food at like every corner. You know, you can just drive through and get like a burger and fries like within 5 minutes. You can get food delivered to your house. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy to, you know, access food, right? And it's so hard to get to the gym, because even now, like, you can't even work out here. Gyms are still closed. So it's like, I get it. I completely understand why, you know, people don't work out or people don't have the time or energy to do it. Like, I get it. Like, I completely get it. It's not easy. But if you can just force yourself to do it, it's going to make all the difference. Even my speaking, I still need to get better. I think I have a problem with eye contact with my camera. I've noticed this in like a couple of videos whenever I'm editing. Like, most people are just always just looking at their camera. Well, my eyes are like all over the place. I'm looking at the ceiling, I'm looking at the window, looking at the ground, and I'm always like not maintaining eye contact with, you know, the potential viewer of the video, right? And I think that's another thing that's a weakness that I need to work on. That was an unexpected answer. Yeah, because, like, you know, a lot the self-improvement journey stuff, you know, one of the most common answers that a lot of the successful people say is read. You know, like, read. You got to read, you got to learn, you got to gain knowledge. And yeah, that is very important. But I still feel like your body and health trumps everything else, right? That's just my opinion. And it's okay, like, if you don't agree with that, and maybe you have health and fitness, you know, a little bit lower on your totem pole of self-development ideas that are important, then that's okay too. But it is definitely on there in some form or another. Okay, how could you deal with ego? Answer is mushrooms. Yeah, ego is ego is an interesting question. I definitely have dealt with issues with my ego before. I think we all have, right? We all have issues with our ego. I'm actually not joking about the mushrooms thing too. That's actually a thing that can help you with ego. When you experience ego death, it's very enlightening, you know. But talking about this as a sober person, you know, the way that I deal with ego is I'm very hard on myself, and I'm very self-deprecating. And, you know, I realized that early on I was humbled. You know, I was humbled very early by not being successful in life. You know, like I said, in my 20s, I wasn't very successful. I didn't figure out what I wanted to do in life until I was like 32. So I have been extremely humbled by life. And, you know, I learned real quick that, you know, like, you know, I'm like nothing, you know, like, I haven't achieved anything. I'm not successful. I'm not financially successful. Like, all these things, right? It humbled me very early on. So I never built up that really big ego. And I think I'm kind of lucky in a sense, because there's some people that have, like people on YouTube, that blow up when they're young. You have extreme success early, and you get that inflated ego that you think like that everything is good, and you're like this amazing person and all these things. But if you're like me and you struggled from the bottom, and you're just at the bottom of the sewer, like from the start, and you never accomplish anything of significance, right? I never developed a problem with ego, but at the same time, I still need to be aware of it, right? I still need to be aware of my ego, because there are times where I catch myself where I think I know everything, right? And I think, oh, I work out, 5 days a week. I eat healthy. I know everything about health and fitness. But but you need to stop and catch yourself when you have those thoughts and realize, like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know. You don't know anything compared to like a fully trained professional that does this stuff day in and day out. And I kind of have to stop and take a step back and be like, oh yeah, okay, I don't know everything about health and fitness. And the same goes with YouTube. People ask me about YouTube and I think I know everything. Yeah, algorithm, this, keyword, titles, thumbnails, camera setting. But again, I stop and I catch myself and I'm like, okay, I have people that know way more about cameras. Like my friend Brian, who's in the chat. I don't know if he's still in the chat now, but he knows way more about cameras and filmmaking, YouTube that I will ever know, right? And it doesn't matter like how much I think I know, that if I ever get to a point where my ego comes in between us, I always just stop and just catch myself and be like, you're not as good as you think, right? And I think it seems kind of weird to be so harsh on yourself, but I think it's important because I never want to become complacent and just settle for what I have. I always want to improve. I always want to keep reflecting on what I'm doing and be like, okay, I'm not that good at this, or I did this, or I thought this, and that's wrong. And I'm always looking for ways to improve and get better. So I think when it comes to ego, as long as you're self-aware and you can kind of stop and catch yourself when your ego comes into play, and just kind of take a step or two back and look at what's happening, and then you can kind of change your perspective or make a judgment call. I think that's how I deal with my ego at times. Or if you eat a mushroom, you'll have to face it head on, and that gets kind of crazy. But it does help. I'm not gonna lie. But also, ego is something that I've only thought about a little bit. I've kind of worked out my problems with my ego at times. But like I said, it's never been something that was prevalent in my life. So I think I'm okay with where I'm at with that. But still, everyday self-reflection is very important. I like these questions. You're making me think and making me dig deep. And that's what's important too, right? Figuring out, things you did wrong and finding out for next time, like what you can do better. I will leave everything you said and go try some mushrooms. I know mushrooms. It's a weird thing to talk about, right? But if you're someone that's tried it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because like I know people say that psychedelic experiences aren't real, but like if you have one that benefits you, it's still benefiting you regardless if it's real or not, right? And the thing that's interesting about mushrooms, you'll experience something called ego death, where you really got to face your own bullshit, and you can't hide. You can't hide from yourself. And I think it's a great tool. I think it's a great tool to use, or a medicine, or however you want to classify it. It just sucks the stigma that it has of, I don't know, being a drug or whatever, being a psychedelic. I don't know. This is a little outside of my knowledge realm. Oh, I regret not trying some when I had the chance. Okay, so interesting thing here is that a lot of my YouTube videos that I create, in the morning when I wake up, I brainstorm a whole bunch of ideas into like Google Docs, for future video ideas. And some of the best writing sessions I had in the morning was microdosing mushrooms. Like just a little bit, not a lot. What it does is it kind of adds this weird creativity element to your mind, whereas you'll approach like a topic from all kinds of different directions. It's a very strange feeling, but what it does for your creativity is really amazing. And I know this because I've done this on multiple occasions. And you might have a topic like, I don't know, like say eating healthy, right? Say you're writing about eating healthy. You might normally think about, okay, what type of food should I eat? What type of proteins are good? What foods are bad? What should I cut out? But then when you kind of have, when you microdose mushrooms, the creativity in your mind, you kind of approach a topic from, okay, if I eat this type of food, where does it come from? Is the animal being hurt? Is it from a farm? Is it from a factory? Also, like, how is the food processed? Who is going to cook it? Instead of thinking about a subject from a linear point of view, like a straight line, your mind kind of opens up and then you approach it from all kinds of abstract angles. And man, for creativity, it's amazing. It's in all honesty, it's absolutely amazing. And it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's very hard to put into words. But if you take a little bit, it's created some of my best YouTube videos. And if you take a lot of it, then you have to face your ego. And that's pretty much it. It also helps people to get in the right waves to start their day at work with autistic kids. Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that. Oh, that's cool. It also helps people get in the right waves. Because it's kind of like a tool, right? This is like sort of what I dislike about this idea of drugs, and how there's like one categorization of drugs and everything just gets like thrown into it. Like, if you go buy a bottle of whiskey from like the alcohol store and you drink that thing, it's gonna destroy you, right? It's not gonna add anything beneficial to your life. You're gonna get super buzzed, you're gonna get intoxicated, drunk, you're gonna feel terrible, you're gonna lose your hand-eye coordination, like you might throw up, the next day you're gonna be hungover, and there's all these negative things when it comes to like consuming like too much alcohol, for example, right? And that gets like labeled as like a drug. But if you just have like a little bit of alcohol, just maybe just one drink, you loosen up, you get buzzed, right? You might feel a bit better socially. So there is some benefit to drugs, right? If used properly. The problem is the human beings that abuse these substances. That's when it gets crazy, right? And it's unfortunate because it can ruin people's lives. But if you're responsible with these things and see them as tools rather than all as drugs, like they can help you in a lot of ways, right? And it's like people that have cancer that use marijuana to relieve their pain, right, and anxiety and help them sleep. Like that's so awesome. Like I would never want to take that away from a person. Like what if you have terminal cancer and you're in the hospital and maybe that substance it can help you reduce the suffering in the last few years of your life. Like that's a thing that I feel like people should have the option to take. So it's a messy topic to talk about. It's very messy, especially with how these things are viewed in society. Brainwaves or mode, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, see, exactly right there. The dose makes the poison. That's 100% true. 100%. It's like that lady that was it last year that was on the radio in a water drinking contest to win tickets for a concert or something, and she got water toxicity because she drank too much water or something. It's like too much of anything is terrible for you. Like it's horrible. Like perfect example is this, like too much coffee, like way too much caffeine, right? But if you just have like 1 cup of coffee in the morning, like so many people do, man, it's like one of the best times of the day. I love my like first cup of coffee in the morning. It's just so good. But like you said, the dose makes the poison. Yeah, it's people that live life of excessive things, overconsumption. It's toxic, right? It's just like food. People that overconsume food, you're just poisoning your body, right? If you're someone that's like gets McDonald's, like every day, you're getting like multiple Big Macs and fries and pop, and then you follow it up with like, I don't know, some pizza or something. It's like, man, it's rough. I don't know, what's the saying? Moderation is key. Is that how the saying goes? That is really interesting. Yeah, I think so too. I feel like you need to look at all these subjects from different perspectives. I think that's what's important. But I definitely agree 100% with the dose makes the poison. That is so true. What Forrest said right there. The dose makes the poison. Man. And the sad thing too is like there's so many things that can be poisonous to humans, right? And it's not just drugs. Like look at sugar, for example. Like man, everyone is like addicted to sugar, right? And I know this because I'm one of them. I'm someone that consumes way too much sugar. But I'm just like addicted to it. It's terrible. I try to eat as healthy as I can, but as soon as someone brings out like the plate of cookies, I'm eating 7 of them, 8, 9. Like I can't just have like 1 or 2. It's just this horrible addiction. What about video game addiction? Hey, how do I say your name? Miran? What's going on, Miran? What about video game addiction? Oh, this is something that I 100% went through. I have a personality where I'm obsessive. I'm completely obsessive compulsive. And when I do something, I can't just do it for luxury or for fun. I have to go like all the way. Like if I play a video game, I gotta play it to the best of my ability. I gotta try to be the best. I gotta do everything. I gotta beat all the other competition, whatever. And for years, I struggled with video game addiction, and the struggle was the fact that I was putting off things that I needed to do in my life and replacing that time with playing video games. So if I had to go get an oil change for my car, I'd kind of push that off and be playing video games. If I had to study for an exam or I had a test or assignment, oh yeah, I'll do it later. I want to play this game. And what happened was like I kept pushing away all the things that I needed to do that would better my life, and I replaced all that time with video games. And I know some people, like I have friends that they can buy a PlayStation 5, they can buy a couple games that they could play, here and there on the weekends or when they have free time, and they have self-control, and that's cool. If you're someone that can handle video games in that way, then more power to you. But if you're like me, where you become obsessive compulsive to the point where you can't just play one game of Call of Duty. I can't just play one game. It has to be a marathon. It has to be 2 games, 8 games, 10 games. It has to be all the way until 4 a.m. the next morning. And if you're a person like that, like an addict almost, you need to cut that out of your life the best way you can. And it's either by trying to figure out how you can work on, using it in moderation. Like maybe that's something you can figure out. But for me, I tried and I could never do it. So what I did was I just deleted everything. I'm not going to buy a PS5. I'm not going to buy a new Xbox or whatever. I try to delete all the games from my phone. I deleted as many computer games that I can from my computer, and then just removing that distraction from my life was the only way that I could figure out how to deal with my video game addiction. So, it's so hard because video games are so much fun, right? Especially online when you play with your friends. Like even right now, all of my friends, they play Call of Duty Warzone online. They're all playing, talking to each other. They're typing in a group chat. Like it's like they're having so much fun. And it's like, oh, I want to be part of that so bad, like I want to join them so bad because I know how much fun it would be. But what's going to happen is I'm going to ignore all my responsibilities. And all of a sudden, instead of exercising, it's going to be Call of Duty. Instead of creating YouTube videos, it's going to be Call of Duty. Instead of videography, filmmaking, and photography, it's going to be Call of Duty. And that's what it's going to be. Is just going to be Call of Duty 24/7, right? So I can't let that into my life. So it's so I guess to answer the question is, if you can find a way to control the addiction and play video games in moderation, that's perfect. But if you can't, then I feel like you just got to cut it out completely if you get crazy like me. How can I start building good habits from scratch? And I get the idea of using bad habits as a tool rather than a drug. Okay, so this is interesting. So building good habits from scratch. The answer that I have is, I'll tell you what works for me. So what I do is whenever I want to add a good habit to my life, I try not to go 100% all in. Like say for example, I wanted to build a habit of healthy eating, right? And a lot of people make this mistake of, all right, starting tomorrow, I'm going to build this good habit of healthy eating. It's going to be oatmeal for breakfast, chicken and broccoli for lunch, and salad and tuna for dinner, no sugar and no chocolate, no chips, and they just go all in. They commit 100% to that idea. And I understand that approach, but for me, when it comes to building a brand new habit, the best thing that works for me is starting off slow. So for the healthy eating thing, for example, the way I started off was I used to have 4 creams and 4 sugars in my coffee. So I started off with, okay, let's try 3 and 3. And I just kept the rest of my diet the same. I go a week, 3 sugars, 3 cream. Next week, okay, let's try 2 sugars, 2 cream. And then 1 sugar, 1 cream. And then just 1 cream. And then eventually it just became black coffee. And then every day was black coffee, black coffee, black coffee, black coffee. And then it just became ingrained into me where I didn't crave the sugar and cream anymore in my coffee. And so I was like, okay, I'm pretty much black coffee for life now. Okay, and what's next, right? So I looked at like my lunch. What do I have for lunch? Oh, leftover pizza or chicken wings from last night, or a bunch of pasta, or whatever, French fries or something. I'm like, okay, let's add a salad, or let's add some vegetables. So now it's everyday black coffee, and with a salad for lunch. Then next week, salad for lunch. Then next week, okay, some vegetables with my lunch. And it's just like adding small changes, but small consistent changes over time. They just like compound on top of each other. And now I'm at a point where I practice intermittent fasting daily. So breakfast is water, black coffee, and nothing else. And then I fast all the way until 1:30, 2 o'clock, where I have a super healthy lunch every day, which is like a lean protein source, and either with a salad or a bunch of vegetables, and no like deep fried foods or fried foods. So like I'm starting off every day with this habit of healthy and strict, right? And if I just jumped in from the start and like right off the bat went with that diet, it wouldn't work. It would be too drastic of a change, right? So it's like making those small, consistent changes over time is what builds that habit from scratch. And again, I don't know if this works for everyone, but this is what worked for me. And the same thing, like a weird habit is like my teeth, for example, right? It was like, okay, I want to take better care of my teeth or something. So I was thinking, okay, let's just try adding like brushing my teeth after after I have a snack every day. And so I just would force myself to brush my teeth really quickly, for like 30 seconds or something after I have like a fruit in the afternoon. And normally I wouldn't do that, right? But then all of a sudden now every day, that brushing my teeth for 30 seconds became 45 seconds. Then it became 50 seconds. Then it became a minute. And now like I developed this tiny habit where in the middle of my day where I normally wouldn't brush my teeth, now I just kind of go and do it habitually. It just becomes a thing that I just do. And it's just by adding just a little bit, let's say a little bit over time every single day, then that habit that you're building from scratch just kind of just blows up. And it sort of just becomes part of your identity. Now it's just a thing that I do. It's just my coffee, there's no cream and no sugar ever. That's just part of my identity, right? It's like, oh, salad and vegetables for lunch. Okay, sure, that's just part of who I am, right? And it's like those small consistent wins. It just pays huge dividends over time. So that's the best way that I could, or how I go about building good habits from scratch. And it's still a work in progress too. I'm not perfect. I still have bad days every once in a while where it's like, oh, leftover pizza it is for lunch, right? So, but it's also knowing that, those bad days, don't let them ruin everything, right? Oh, wow, we almost made it to 2 hours. Or we pretty much just made it to 2 hours. That was a pretty good stream. I was struggling in the beginning. Trying to work out these thoughts that I had about mental health. Still trying to figure out how I want to approach a subject. But this is like another thing that I like working on, this streaming thing. You know, it's like building a habit, right? This is something that's very difficult, right? To be put on the spot in the moment. You know, to try to come up with, you know, educated and well thought out answers and ideas. You know, it's hard. That was meaningful. Hopefully that helped. You know, I tried to give the best answer and, you know, honest, transparent answer as I could. You know, these things are not easy, right? They're difficult. But yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna end this stream for today. That was really good, guys. Thanks for everyone who showed up. You know, Forrest, you're the best for making all the streams. Final Blow, you know, thank you for the questions. We definitely got to do it again. I think I'll set the next stream. I'll try to do two in July, 2 next month. So we'll see on which Saturday. But hopefully we can get a couple good discussions in. And I'm really enjoying these super sporadic discussions that we have. And, you know, I wouldn't be able to do this if you guys, you know, didn't show up. So I really appreciate it. Everyone that showed up, you know, Brian, Mary, Sadie, Tina, and everyone that came. Nick, if you're still there. All right, guys, have a good Saturday. Have a good weekend. I should have a video dropping for you guys on Tuesday. And until next time, I'll see you in the next stream. All right. Have a good day, guys.